Hey guys, welcome to my worst to best seasons of The Office list. Now before we get into the list, I gotta say a few things. First, spoiler warning for those who haven't seen the show. Second is that when it comes to each season, I have rules for the endings. These rules include 1. It should wrap up the season in a clean and satisfying way. 2. Set up the next season in a clean and satisfying way. And 3. It should fit the buildup of the season. What I'm trying to say with that is basically each season builds up over episodes, it builds a story over the episodes. And if the last episode does not fit that buildup, then it kind of weakens the ending. And third, this is just my personal opinion. If you love the seasons I put lower on the list, that's fine by me. But anyways, without further ado, let's get right into the list. Season 8 is a massive train wreck in my opinion. With Michael gone, the writers didn't really know what to do, and it clearly shows, especially with the main focus of the season. Andy and Aaron's relationship, which honestly I feel like their story never was interesting, like Jim and Pam's or Dwight and Angela's. Mainly because Aaron is way too stupid and Andy is such an and you'd think with this relationship drama, it would be like the classic Office humor where it's so awkward it's funny. Yeah, I feel like there's none of that in the season. It's just so infuriatingly awkward. So personally, I'd give this season a huge pass. Anyways, let's move on. Season 4, which isn't nearly as bad as Season 8, but it still is pretty boring. The story in this season feels like a lot was cut out to the point where it doesn't really make sense. Not only that, now that Jim and Pam were dating, their story sort of faded into the background, and the stories in the spotlight were kind of bland. Sure, Michael's story does set up his story in Season 5, but it wasn't really that entertaining, and Ryan's story feels like a huge waste of time because he just ends up back where he started. Now for this season, I feel like the beginning and ending are hilarious. Like at the beginning where Michael hits Meredith with their car, I was dying at that. It was hilarious. But the middle is really boring and knocks the season down a few pegs. However, I still give it a watch. But anyways, let's move on. Season 1, which honestly, I feel like there's nothing really to say. It doesn't really count as a season, especially since it's so short, but I feel like that's really my only problem with it. It's just short, which is why it's low. It's good overall, it's just not really a season. So, yeah, I guess we'll just move on with it. Season 6 is a great season with Jim and Pam finally getting married and Pam giving birth. And I love the plot that Dunder Mifflin Corporate is closing down, which makes them get a new corporate. Now you might be wondering, why is this season so low on the list? Well, it's because the ending leaves a huge mess for Season 7 to clean up. The ending of Season 6 doesn't really fit the build-up, and it also doesn't really end Season 6, honestly. Season 7 just feels like Season 6.5. Not only that, the characters they introduce are either annoying, like Joe, or are just a waste of character, like Gabe. Gabe is obviously there just to date Aaron, even though it could be anyone. It could be Toby, for example. But that's really all I can say. Anyways, let's just move on. Season 5 is kind of like my description for Season 6. I love the plot with Michael and Holly. It's so beautiful, with David Wallace figuring out that they're in love. So he has to send Holly away, leading them to break up. And it's really sad because they're perfect for each other. And when she starts dating someone from another branch, Michael is devastated. And I love the plot where famously known actor Idris Elba becomes the boss and Michael makes his own branch with Pam and Ryan in the same building. However, like I said, in Season 6, the ending doesn't really fit the build-up. However, it does set up Season 6 perfectly and then Season 5, which is why this season is above Season 6 on the list. But the season didn't build up to the end of this season. It really just feels like somewhat of some random episode where Michael doesn't really know what he's doing, which is a little annoying, but anyways, let's just move on. Season 2 is a great season. The season knew what it was doing with its story and characters, with a dramatic story from Jim and Pam starting their relationship and setting up an even bigger plot in Season 3. But we'll get to that later. Season 2 is just a hysterical drama with an ending that the season was building up to from the start. However, it's now time to get to the big boys. Season 7 is a half-baked masterpiece, with the story of Michael and Holly finally coming to a close, with Michael proposing to her in the best way possible with a humongous fire hazard. The story with Gabe and Aaron ends up being really hilarious, with Gabe going crazy after Aaron breaks up with him. Another thing, Goodbye Michael is probably one of the best episodes in the series, with Michael not telling anyone that he was leaving that day, which makes it even more heartbreaking when he has to leave. However, that wasn't the last episode, which is kind of sad because honestly, that would have ended the season so perfectly and definitely set up Season 8 in a great way. But instead, the season ends with Will Ferrell dying and them trying to get a new manager, which is pretty funny now that I think about it, but I digress. Let's just move on to the next season. Season 3 is a great season all around, with introducing great characters like Karen and Andy, and this dilemma between Jim and Pam, with Pam realizing that she actually likes him and that she really messed up by turning him away. While Jim, on the other hand, is dating Karen, yet he still secretly likes Pam, which leads up to a great ending with him asking Pam out and then starting their relationship. All in all, I think this season is funny and great. A definite watch. Season 9 is a masterpiece, being hilarious and wrapping up every storyline in a cohesive and satisfying way. With deciding to get rid of characters like Ryan, Kelly, and Gabe and replacing them with characters that are either funny like Clark or essential to the plot like Pete. And the storylines in this season are so damn good, with Andy's family being broke, so he has to leave for 3 months while Aaron and Pete start to fall for each other, and honestly, they're a really cute couple, almost like Jim and Pam. It's really nice to finally see Aaron start to be with someone who's good to her, unlike Andy. Another plot that I think is awesome is Jim starting a new business, which leads to some actual drama between the two, where they almost break up over Jim's job because Pam doubted Jim, but he made it up to him in the end, with Pam actually trusting him and moving away. Oh, and the final 3 episodes are fantastic, with Dwight becoming the manager of Dunder Mifflin and proposing to Angela while learning that he's a father. Then the last episode gives every character's closure, with Aaron finding her parents, Dwight marrying Angela, and Michael finally coming back with the line that he left with.
That's what she said.
Another thing I love about this season is how it goes more in depth of the show, showing how the documentary affected the characters, making these characters feel more realistic. I have never seen a show done like this, where it breaks the fourth wall in a way that affects the story and characters. This season was a perfect end to a perfect show, showing that this show could become something deeper than people expected it to be. And it is just incredible. This show is such a masterpiece, with its likable characters and enthralling story. Even the seasons I put low on the list are still good, except for Season 8. That season can go burn in hell. Anyways, I'm gonna miss this show, and its wonderful cast of characters. This video took a really long time to make, but I hope you'd enjoy. If you disagree with my list, put your own list down in the comments and tell me what you thought of each season. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoy. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to my channel, and yeah, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!